Welcome back to 5-Minute Sermons. This time we will be in 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 22 through 26. I like to call this a primer on conflict. Primer simply is just a short little starting point to a doctrine or an idea or a teaching. And it kind of reminds me in some ways of the Christian version of Rules for Radicals. Saul Alinsky wrote Rules for Radicals, and it seems like people have caught on to that. Well, this is Rules for Christians. Here is conflict management for those in leadership, but not only for those in leadership, also for those who have any portion of leadership, maybe a mother to a child, maybe a father to a son, maybe a husband to a wife, maybe a brother to a sister. However it might be, it is something that we can all learn from how to conduct ourselves in conflict. So let's look at it. 2 Timothy 2:22. So flee youthful passions and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who call on the Lord from a pure heart, having nothing to do with foolish, ignorant controversies. You know that they breed quarrels. And the Lord's servant must not be quarrelsome, but kind to everyone, able to teach, patiently enduring evil, correcting his opponents with gentleness. God may perhaps grant them repentance leading to a knowledge of the truth, and they may come to their senses and escape from the snare of the devil after being captured by him to do his will. One of the very first things that we notice about conflict management is it actually has to do with the person that is engaging. It says right away, flee youthful passions. You would think that these rules that would be laid down are actually, this is how you argue, this is how you make your debate or take your stand, but no, it is flee youthful passions and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace along with people who call on the Lord from a pure heart. So, in other words, turn from one thing to another thing and do so with people, with those who seek the Lord by faith, who are actually pursuing the Lord. Now, we may think that this youthful passion is merely lust or sexual desire, but it is much more than that. Youthful passion can be the desire for wealth, the desire for power, the pride of life, the pride of position, a self-assertiveness, or even an argumentativeness that comes about in pridefully seeking your own. Here it says, flee those things. The second thing it says is have nothing to do with foolish, ignorant controversies. When we read that, we all know what that means. It is pretty obvious. We know when we find ourselves in a foolish debate. We know when we find ourselves in ignorant controversy. And it is stating here, have nothing to do with them. If we want to be people who walk with the Lord and are able to confront things that are wrong and right that which is wrong and walk in the truth, have nothing to do with these ignorant controversies. You know that they breed quarrels. All it does is fight. Very often we see an immaturity within the church because there's a lot of squabbling over expressed opinion, how things should be, how people should act, how people should do this or that. And really it says don't engage in these ignorant controversies, these foolish things. It only breeds fighting. It only creates problems. The next thing it says, and the Lord's servant must not be quarrelsome. In other words, don't be a pugilist. Don't be ready to start a fight. Don't be rearing and ready just for an argument for the sake of argument. That's something I've found myself guilty of in the past, especially as a young man. But by God's grace, as time goes, I desire less and less for the argument and more to be able to, as it says here, to teach, patiently enduring evil. And that's the fourth thing, patiently enduring evil. Or the third thing, patiently enduring evil, is something that means that I don't extricate myself, I don't remove myself, I don't free myself from the evil per se, as in I don't run away. I also don't try to squelch it with the hammer of justice, but I patiently endure. And how do I endure it? Correcting the opponent, his opponent. And correcting his opponent with what? gentleness. Gentleness. We should be correcting in gentleness with a particular end in mind, and he gives us that end. God may perhaps grant them repentance. God may perhaps grant them repentance through your gentle correction and your ability to teach the truth that is there as you with others pursue from a pure heart faith, hope, and love. I love this passage. It is something we could spend much, much time in. But let it suffice for this little bit. Our desire should be that God would grant them repentance, leading to a knowledge of the truth, and then they may come to their senses and escape the snare of the devil after being captured by him. Our desire is not for our pound of flesh or for us to be right, but it is for the repentance of an individual, and may God grant them that. It is a desire for them to be released from the snare of the devil. By God's grace, may we do exactly that, flee youthful passions, avoid ignorant controversies, patiently endure evil, and correct with gentleness for the sake of others being granted repentance. God bless you. We'll catch you next time.